Hi, everybody. I'm Michelle Rusk, your host for the Holistic Living series, and I am with Dr. Trevor Cates today. And welcome, Dr. Cates. I'm very excited to have you.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Great. So I'm going to read a little bit of about Dr. Cates' background. So Dr. Trevor Cates is author of the best-selling book, Clean Skin from Within. She became known as the Spa Doctor after working in world-renowned spas and was the first woman licensed as a naturopathic doctor in the state of California, appointed by former Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger to California's Bureau of Naturopathic Medicine Advisory Council. Dr. Cates lives in Park City, Utah, where she helps patients from around the world achieve graceful aging and glowing skin. She has been featured on The Doctors, Extra First for Women, and Mind Body Green. Dr. Cates has her own PBS special, Younger Skin from Within, and is the host of the Spa Doctor podcast. She believes the key to healthy skin is inner and outer nourishment with non-toxic ingredients. Dr. Cates' The Spa Doctor skincare and supplement lines are formulated with natural and organic ingredients designed to help you achieve the clean and natural path to confidence and beautiful skin. So welcome again. So Dr. Cates, tell us, how did you become known as the Spa Doctor?
Well, as you said in my intro, that I've worked at certain world-renowned spas, and that's my practice was there. I was seeing patients in there, so people started calling me the Spa Doctor. So that's part of it. But the reason why I still that name kind of stuck even after not working in those spas anymore is that I learned a lot from this experience of doing these 2-week weight loss programs. And I was doing them in the spas. And one of the things that people would say to me is after doing the 2-week program, they would talk about how they had lost weight, how they felt better, they felt more energized and all these things. But the thing that they noticed that surprised them the most was their skin. Yeah. And that people would say after the 2-week program, they said, I'm surprised you didn't even mention that my skin would change, but my skin issues have cleared up. My skin looks more vibrant. I didn't even know it could look this healthy. And to me, that made sense because that's kind of what put me on the path to becoming a naturopathic physician. Is when I was a child, I had a lot of health issues and a lot of that showed up on my skin. I had a lot of allergies, and so I had eczema and hives and these little bumps on my face. And I remember as a child really struggling with that. And when you have skin issues, especially on the face, it's not easy to hide, and it can impact your self-esteem, how you show up in the world, how you feel about yourself. And I certainly was picked on about my skin. So it can be very devastating, and not just on a physical level and the discomfort of that, but also on an emotional level. And so certainly that was something that I remember well. And when I was, and as a kid, my parents took me to see a lot of different types of specialist doctors that would give me different medications, whether topical or oral. And I just would have reactions to them. I would feel worse, and I wasn't getting any better. Luckily, my parents didn't give up, though. They kept searching for answers for me, which is eventually what led them to find a holistic practitioner. And it's the one thing that then when we started really to dive into that, that's the one thing that turned my health around, turned my skin around. And then of course, then that would give me an ability to feel like a normal kid. And that helped me with so many different aspects of my life. And I remember thinking at that point, why did I have to go through all of that to find this thing?
Yeah.
And I thought at that young age, I was about 11 years old, I thought, if there's any way that I can help other people not have to go what I went through, then that's what I want to do. And so eventually it's what led me to go to naturopathic medical school. And I've been practicing for almost 20 years now. And so when I started to realize that when I was at the spas, I thought, well, this is information I really want people to understand, because instead, because I think so much of the time there's this approach to skin as something, if you break out in a rash or you start to break out in acne or your skin's really dry or whatever the skin issues are, you feel like you're aging prematurely, the automatic reaction is, what can we do to cover it up and suppress it? What topical thing is just going to make it go away really fast, and without really looking at it as, I really look at skin as giving us signs that something's out of balance. And that's why I call skin our magic mirror, because it does give us great information about our overall health. And instead of looking at something that we just need to cover up and suppress, let's figure out what's behind it. What's going on with our skin? Because if you use this kind of Band-Aid approach, it might help temporarily. And I did see that even personally in my own experience, and I see it with my patients, is sometimes you use these topical prescriptions or over-the-counter medications, and initially you might notice a little bit of relief, but it's not, a lot of times there's a rebound of the worsening of the symptoms, or they'll just keep getting worse, or you have reactions to the medications or side effects.
Yeah. Yeah. So in your 2-week weight loss program, tell us a little bit about what's involved with that and why so many people really saw those changes. Because I believe it. I really do. I believe it.
Mm-hmm. And so with the 2-week program, I've been doing it for many years. And what I did is after that realization, I started to shift it a little bit more to focus on specifically on skin, and added some things into it. So it wasn't primarily a weight loss program, although that people will notice, though, if weight is an issue for them, a lot of times they'll notice they'll be able to improve their weight. But what's involved is there, and I talk about this in my book, Clean Skin from Within. I wrote a book that has the 2-week program that I modified specifically around skin. And in that 2-week program in the book, I cover 4 different sections. It's clean plate, clean slate, clean body, and clean mind. And these are really the essential parts of the 2-week program. So the clean plate is about eating the foods that nourish your skin and nourish your body from the inside out, and addressing root causes. At the same time, avoiding some of the big trigger foods that lead to perpetuating those root causes. And then the clean slate is, what are the products that you're putting on your skin? And we want to make sure that they're clean, non-toxic, and also containing natural actives and things that help balance the pH and improve the skin microbiome. And then clean body is about reducing the toxins in your environment in other ways, in your food, in your water, and your home environment, and those sorts of things, because we want to reduce our total load of toxin exposure, because they do feed into a lot of the big primary root causes that lead to skin problems. And then the last section is clean mind, because when we have emotional trauma or stress, those act like toxins in the body. And so we want to address those, and so that can help as well, because they, again, this all leads back into the root causes. And I'm happy to talk about some of these root causes, but what's interesting about this is that, like I said, skin is this outer reflection of what's going on internally. So if you're addressing the root causes, the primary root causes, which I believe there's 6 of those, of skin issues, you're also going to be addressing the primary root causes for a lot of other health problems. So not only is your skin going to clear up, you're going to have the side benefit instead of a side effect. You're going to have a side benefit of noticing the other things, like decreasing in pain, because a lot of pain is inflammation, having more energy, and for women, having more more balance in their hormones. And there are a lot of different side benefits that can occur with that, because of the approach of addressing the underlying causes.
Huh. So trigger foods, I'm interested to know, like, what are some, I think I know some of them, but tell us more about some of those trigger foods.
Yeah, and there are some that are typical for what you would expect, because they're trigger foods for a lot of health issues, like sugar. And sugar is one of those pro-inflammatory foods. And also when it comes to skin, there are a few reasons why it particularly is an issue. One is that when we eat a lot of sugar or or foods that are high in the glycemic index or that raise the blood sugar, what happens is if our blood sugar rises, and that can lead to glycation issues in the body. And so glycation, what happens with that is that glucose will bind to proteins in the body. And in the case of our skin, that means the collagen in our skin. And collagen gives us the nice texture to our skin, and it keeps us, our skin looking youthful and firm. And so if glucose is binding to it, though, it'll make it more rigid, less elastic, and lead to those accelerated wrinkles and signs of aging. And the other thing is that it's a big trigger for acne. Sugar is a big trigger for acne too. And that is a physiologic reason behind that, is that when our blood sugar rises, it will also trigger excess or it will trigger insulin production. And with insulin rise, that will also trigger excess sebum production in the skin, which are the oils in the skin, as well as excess androgen activity. And those are two of the big things that we know trigger the acne breakouts, especially in people that tend to be more of the acne prone skin. They're going to be particularly susceptible to that, or people that have trouble with balancing their blood sugar, and maybe that's one of their big root causes.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, because usually, you always hear people talk about dairy, dairy products, and I know that was one of mine. That was definitely one of my triggers.
And that is another one of the big trigger foods is dairy. Another one of the more pro-inflammatory foods. And then also it is a common allergen and food intolerance. So that's another reason why people will have issues with that. And then just the nature of it, it does contain hormones. All dairy products contain hormones because they come from a lactating mammal, even if it's an organic, a grass-fed source. And not dairy isn't necessarily, especially people who are choosing the grass-fed butter, grass-fed cheeses and things. It's not necessarily a trigger for everyone, right. But with the 2-week program, the reason why I do it as a 2-week program, one of the reasons is that it helps you decide if some of these trigger foods are really an issue for you. So you eliminate them for 2 weeks, and then you can reintroduce them back in to see if it really is an issue for you. I do find it is one of the top ones, and sometimes your body just needs a break from it while you address some of the root causes. And then once you get your body in a better state of health, you're able to eat some of these foods occasionally, and it's not going to create this big reaction.
Interesting. So what are some examples of skin changes to look out for that tell us that the body is not well?
Yeah, so for anyone that has a chronic skin issue, any kind of worsening of your symptoms it's something to pay attention to. So if you're acne prone and all of a sudden you start to notice you're breaking out more, then definitely pay attention to that. Or if you're noticing certain patterns of where you're breaking out, like are you breaking out around your mouth, along your jawline, around your hairline, those mean different things. They can give you different information about what's going on. And then you can actually look at what are the lifestyle choices I've been making that might be triggering this? Am I not getting as much sleep? Am I eating different foods? Where am I? If you're a woman, where are you in your cycle? Right. Those are the kinds of things to pay attention to, and try to start making those connections, whether it's acne or maybe it's eczema or rosacea, any number of chronic skin issues. It's those changes to look for, and also improvements. If you're noticing your skin is all of a sudden looking really good, what have you been doing? Maybe that's been a good lifestyle choice for you. And then if you don't typically have skin issues, but all of a sudden start to notice that you're breaking out, or that your skin just is duller, drier, not as vibrant looking as it normally is, then all of that are signs. And if you're starting to notice dry patches or redness or uneven skin tone, all of those are signs that your body's giving you. So I think it's a great thing to look in your skin in the mirror. You could look at your face in the mirror, and it's our largest organ right on the surface of our body. So you don't need special imaging equipment. You could just look in the mirror and realize it's giving you information. And realize that that's information, and it's not something to be hard on yourself about,
Yeah.
that, oh, I just need to wear more makeup or whatever it is. This is information. And the same thing when you're getting ready to get in the shower, bath, you can take a look at the skin in your rest of your body. It's also a great opportunity to look for changes with moles or skin changes that might be precancerous, or things that you want to have your dermatologist take a look at.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay, and we're back. I had to go and grab my little 9-month-old. She's got a little cold right now, so she's gonna make a cameo. Okay, so Dr. Cates, you mentioned before about how certain areas of the face can be indicators of certain health issues. So I'm interested to know a little bit more about that.
Yeah, with that acne, the areas of the face where you're breaking out acne. So along the jawline, if people are breaking out an acne around the jawline, um, it oftentimes means that there's a hormonal imbalance. That's oftentimes a hormonal issue. Around the mouth, a lot of times I notice that that's something that somebody's eating. And then sometimes it's misdiagnosed, or people just assume that it's acne, but it could be perioral dermatitis or something else. If it's not going away, then definitely have someone take a look at that. But around the mouth, sometimes if you're breaking out there, then that can be something that you're eating that your body's not real happy about. And then along the hairline, sometimes that means it's more of hair care products that you're using that are clogging your pores. Maybe you're not cleansing your face up around your hairline enough, and so your pores are getting clogged in those areas where your hair lays. If if you have bangs or something
Yeah.
to think about. And there are other reasons too that you could be breaking out in those areas, but those are some of the patterns that I oftentimes see.
Interesting, interesting. I have my oldest son, he's 12, and he's kind of starting with those little hormonal, with that hormonal acne. So, I had it too. Is that something that is, genetic? Like, do we kind of see that? Because you always hear that. I always find that interesting because you always hear, oh, well, I had it as your parent, so you're predisposed to it. Is that a real thing?
Yeah, so there definitely are genetic predispositions that can make us more prone to breaking out in acne. And the really good news is that just because people in your family have had acne or whatever health condition, it doesn't mean that you're stuck with it, that you're going to have it too, that you might have to work a little bit harder with your lifestyle choices. But with the lifestyle choices that you make, the foods that you eat, stress management, maybe some additional taking certain supplements, it can actually change the genetic expression so that you're not going to be having those health issues, or like an acne, like you said. But again, sometimes we just have to work a little bit harder if we have those genetic predispositions, but that doesn't mean that we're stuck with it.
Interesting. Good. Perfect. So I can tell him, don't worry, you're not stuck with it.
Yes, but you can't just sit around and expect for it to go away necessarily. You want to be proactive with it. And the same thing, like within my family, a lot of allergies run in my family. So a lot of atopic issues, eczema and skin issues and hay fever and asthma, and that a lot of times those are common within families. But then doing certain things that help address the root causes, like inflammation, and eating anti-inflammatory foods, like getting omega-3 fatty acids, and avoiding some of the big pro-inflammatory trigger foods. Those are some choices that you can do. With allergic types skin conditions, taking probiotics can be a great thing to help prevent and address some of the allergic tendencies and help support the gut microbiome, because the gut issues are one of those big root causes behind skin issues.
Interesting. I never thought about a probiotic. It makes perfect sense. But because they always say take a probiotic when you go on an antibiotic, but it never even occurred to think about, oh, if you're having skin issues, take a probiotic. That's
Well, and the reason is there's a big connection. More research is coming out about the gut skin connection. There's
yes.
actually even research on the gut brain skin connection. And so a lot of what we're doing, what's going on in our gut impacts our skin. And so I don't know if you've talked about much with your audience about the gut microbiome, but that's the balance of microorganisms that live in and protect the digestive tract. And that's one of the reasons why people take probiotics or eat foods with active cultures and things to help support a healthy gut microbiome. There's a direct connection between the gut microbiome and the skin microbiome. So the skin has its own balance of microorganisms on it that live on and protect it. And so when we're talking about what's going to help the skin microbiome is partly from the gut, and what are we doing from the inside out that's going to help, and then also what are we putting topically on the skin that could actually disrupt that balance.
Right.
And a lot of times we're using these like hand sanitizers or antimicrobial soaps and things to help kill off all the germs that we're exposed to, but that's actually damaging our skin microbiome. And and so and then certainly what we're putting on our face too. And when we disrupt the skin microbiome, our skin is going to be more prone to breaking out and various skin issues, and also it could actually cause our skin to age more rapidly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and not to mention, I know I stay far, far away from like phthalates and petrochemicals and all those different chemicals, because when you read about all those ingredients, it's scary. Like how they are hormone disruptors, and they really can do a lot.
Yeah, there are. I mean, it is a big issue. It's part of the reason why I created my own skincare line, the Spa Doctor's Daily Essentials, is because I was realizing that there's so many toxins in personal care products that my patients were exposed to, and it's a big trigger for autoimmune disease, a lot of health issues, hormone imbalances. And so what I wanted to do is figure out how can I help my patients have less exposure to endocrine disrupting chemicals and these other toxic ingredients in the environment. Skincare products are one of those places. And so that's one of the reasons why I wanted to create my skincare line. Was I wanted to find a natural, non-toxic skincare line, but one that could also support the natural pH of the skin with natural actives, and also support a healthy skin microbiome, because it's not just about using clean products on our skin, but ones that will actually nourish the environment for our skin to make it a healthy environment, so that we're not breaking out, that we're aging gracefully. So it's a really important combination. And I felt like a lot of the natural skincare lines out there weren't actually formulating them in a way that's going to help promote healthy skin.
Right. Yeah. So you briefly just talked about the pH of the skin. How does that really play a role in healthy skin?
Yeah, so our skin does best with mild acidity. So with a lot of skincare products, especially if you think about a bar of soap that foams up, with that foaming, oftentimes that means that it has a high pH, and that actually is not good for our skin. Our skin does best with the mild acidity. And even water has a neutral pH, which is too high for our skin to, and with healthy skin, it can rebound. If you rinse your face with water, it can rebound pretty well. But when we're trying to promote optimal skin health, especially if your skin isn't where you want it to be, then it's important to use skincare products that have that mild acidity to help restore it. And cleansers are some of the worst for that, because a lot of them have that high pH. And then what people will then sometimes use a toner then to help bring the pH back down. But really what I believe is the whole system should help support, rather than just having this sort of stripping effect that a lot of cleansers do.
Ah, interesting.
Mhm.
So Do you think that toners are a good thing or a not so good thing?
Well, they're fine, but I don't make a toner because I don't feel that it's necessary. I have a serum instead because I think that toners a lot of times are used to remove excess makeup or debris, or to help restore the pH of the skin. But my cleanser already has mild acidity, so people don't need to be using a toner, and it removes all makeup. So I didn't feel like it's necessary, but it depends on what skincare products you're using. It could be part of a skincare system um, that people use.
Interesting, interesting. So do you have any recipes from the book that people at home can easily whip up?
Yeah, of course. And when your little one gets older, it's a DIY skincare is a fun thing to
It's
do
so
at home.
fun,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. And a lot of the things that we could do with DIY skincare are things that you might already have in your kitchen. Things like honey is great for the skin, because of its antimicrobial effects and nourishing effects and hydrating. So honey is a great ingredient. Yogurt can be another one because of the lactic acid in there, the mild acidity of it. So yogurt, plain yogurt, you don't want to be using the strawberry yogurt with that might get kind of sticky, but hey, I don't know. You could try it, I guess. And plain yogurt and oats are another one. I tell people to be really careful though with the skin on their face and exfoliation. A lot of times people over exfoliate and they're using things that are actually scratching and damaging the skin. So you want to be careful. It should have with oats. What I suggest is either cook them a little bit and use them that way, or you grind them up into a flour when you're doing a DIY skincare mask. So maybe you could put together some ground up oats, or so it's like an oat flour, some plain yogurt, and a little bit of honey. You could even mash up some strawberries or something in there too. And I know it sounds delicious, like you could actually
I
eat that.
know.
And that's the great thing about it too, is that skincare should be natural. It should be clean. To a certain extent, if you can't put it in your mouth, maybe you shouldn't be putting it on your skin, because we do absorb a lot through the skin. We don't absorb the same way in our digestive tract as we do through our skin. It is different, but some of the things that we put on our skin can actually get through, and that's why it has become a problem with some of these ingredients, like you mentioned, parabens, of these hormone disrupting chemicals actually getting into the body and getting up into human tissues. Like in the case of parabens have been detected in breast tumor tissue. So that doesn't necessarily mean we don't know for sure. The jury's still out, and if there's a connection between breast cancer and parabens. We don't know that. There's not the research making that direct connection. But what we do know from the study is that the body can actually absorb these things, and it can be taken up into human tissues. And we've seen this with other research as well. So we want to be careful. And so that's one of the reasons why I love the DIY skincare. And I think it's fun to do. And it's not something though that I think most people don't do it every day, because it's time consuming and all of that. So I think, and also it doesn't last. You have to make a fresh batch every couple of days and keep things in the refrigerator. It will grow mold and bacteria and things. So you got to be careful. You want to keep your skincare products clean. And also, if you have skincare products that have been sitting in your bathroom, or makeup that's been sitting there for a long time, just throw it out. It's a breeding ground for all kinds of things to grow, especially as much as I love the natural products, they're even more likely to grow bacteria and mold. So you want to be careful with those. My products have a 2-year shelf life, but a lot of natural skincare products they're not made for that. And another tip is, try to avoid sticking your fingers into products, because you're contaminating them. And sometimes you'll get these lotions and creams or eye creams or different things in there in a jar, and you just open up and you're sticking your fingers in. Well, usually they come with a little scooper, a spatula. Actually use that instead of sticking your fingers in. Or my products, I put them all in containers that you can, like pumps or tubes or things so you're not actually sticking your fingers in there and contaminating the products.
Yeah, yeah, wonderful. All right. So you have a skin quiz.
Yeah.
Why should people do this right away? Is it on your website?
People, it is, you can find on the website. You can also go to theskinquiz.com. It's a free online quiz, and it just takes a few minutes to take it. And the reason why I created this is when I was writing my book, I thought, okay, I sit one-on-one with a lot of patients. How am I going to help more people identify the root causes behind their skin issues? And
Right.
so that's why I created this quiz, to help more people to be able to figure this out on their own, because I can't see everybody and do a full assessment on everybody, but I can usually identify just by asking a few questions what those are. And so then what I did is I created 5 different skin types, and each of those 5 skin types are categorized based upon the root causes behind them. And I gave them all human names instead of something like dry, oily, mature, those types of skin types. They're Amber, Sage, Olivia, Emmett, and Heath.
Oh
So
my
you
gosh.
can find which of those you are. You just take the quiz, theskinquiz.com. You can find out your skin type, and then I'll send you some recommendations on things you can do to address those root causes. And then in my book, I talk about my book, Clean Skin from Within. I talk about these skin types. And with the 2-week program, I explain how you can customize your 2-week program based upon your skin type. So there's a basic 2-week program that everybody will follow. But then there's a chapter explaining what modifications that you can make based upon if you're Amber, Sage, Olivia, and the different skin types, the recommendations for supplements, for skincare ingredients, and specific dietary recommendations.
Awesome. Wonderful. All right. Well, thank you so much for being with us today. Do you have any last tips that you wanna share? Any last words that you want to share with everybody?
I think, well, one thing is, I've been talking about my book, Clean Skin from Within, and I want to give people an opportunity to get the book for free, for your audience to get it for free. You can
Awesome.
just pay the shipping and handling fee to get it to them. Normally the book is $22.99, but we'll waive that and just pay the shipping fee. So people they can get that by going to thespadoctor.com/free book. So it's THESPADR.com. So doctor is abbreviated /free book. And so people go to that page, they'll find out how they can get the book for free, just paying the shipping. So I want to make sure that people have that opportunity to get the book, since we've been talking about it. And there's a lot more information we couldn't cover today, like all the different ingredients to look for in your skincare products, alternatives to those ingredients in a more natural form, and foods to eat, foods to avoid, those sorts of things, and recipes for both DIY skincares and also foods to eat. But the thing I want to end with is, I want to remind people that looking at your skin as information, that
Mhm.
to not be hard on yourself about your skin, to actually look at as, what is your body trying to tell you about your lifestyle, about your unique issues that might be going on and with your health that are showing up on your skin, and just address them.
Yeah, I think it's perfect because when I had my own health issues, my skin was screaming at me.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
and it was a very strong indicator. And once I started doing an elimination diet and I really started figuring things out, that I said, oh my gosh, that's when my connections really started to be made. So yeah, it's
Mhm.
great. Well, thank you so much. And I really enjoyed our discussion today. I learned a lot. So I'm sure our viewers did as well. Thanks everybody for joining us, and we will see you later. Bye.